Come on. There we go. Now it's working. Mercury is in full force right now. I did an update on my computer and they wanted me to do another update. And I was like, seriously? Like, how many updates are we going to have? And it's like, I feel like my brain is updating too at the moment. All these solar flares, we're getting updates here too.
I feel like we're just on this massive, like, upgrade, all of us, whether it's conscious, subconscious, whatever's happening. I'm seeing lives change literally every single day. It's been incredible.
Certainly has. Kind of like hold on to your pants, incredible. Like Jesus gonna give you whiplash.
Hold on to that wheel tight, please, Jesus.
Yeah, no kidding. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Ariel. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Marissa. Hi, Michelle. Both the Michelles. Hello. Hi, Lori. Hi, Mimi. I love the name Mimi. That was my grandmother's name. Well, her name was Mildred, but we all called her Mimi. She was the sweetest lady. She really was. She pops in with my dad on occasion. When my dad comes in, you know what's funny? Whenever both my grandfathers and my father come, they're always with their mothers. What is that? I went to visit my grandfather. I called in my grandfather on his birthday just so I could be like, hi, Grandpa, how are you? It was really sweet. My mom was there too. So Adriana is she's so wonderful. I'm like, can you just speak for my grandfather really quick so we could say hi? So we called him in and we were like, what have you been doing, Grandpa? And he's like, playing golf. We're like, oh, lovely. And they're like, he has a lady with him. And the thing is, you can't really say older lady because in heaven, everybody wants to look young. Nobody wants to be the older lady anymore. Everybody's like goes back to what they looked like in their prime, you know? So we're like, oh, who's the lady with Grandpa? And we're like, I wonder. I don't know. I was like, is it Grandma? And she's like, no. And we're like, Grandpa, what are you doing? You know, he's like, oh, grandmother's around here. She's playing bridge somewhere. And when he said that, my mom's face just went, oh, because she loved bridge. That was her favorite game to play with all her friends. And it was really cute to hear that, you know. And I found out that, no, it wasn't my grandmother. It was his mother that was with him. And I was like, that's interesting. Because when my dad visited, he had his mom with him. And when my other grandfather visited, he also had his mom. So apparently we just wandering around heaven with our moms in the afterlife.
So that just means that you're going to need your mother eternally, like literally. Especially then men.
Right?
Some mommy complexes going on and a little bit of Botox in heaven.
Yeah, you know, but isn't that funny? It's kind of reminds me of that movie where like the mom and the daughter and the grandmother were all standing side by side and they all look the exact same age because they didn't age in the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to think of what we might what we might choose to look like while we're up there, because you choose to look completely different how you were than when you died, of course.
Absolutely. And I also think that you can like change your looks depending on like who it is that you're interacting with as well, right? Because you're going to want the people who loved you in their human form to recognize you as that. But then you might be going off playing bridge with somebody over here and you're like, no, I want to be over there.
Yes. I love it. Sherry says there's no death to us part with moms. Oh, very true.
True. Yeah. I'm laughing at Michelle's comment. I just won't look like Yoda. Yeah.
You can look however you want in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Must be nice. You don't have to worry about dieting or or having the right hair color. You can just change it whenever you want.
Right. But then the downside of that is that you probably, I don't know, maybe you can, but maybe there's like not donuts there though. Maybe there's not.
No, I have actually asked the soul why they chose to come to the earth, and they said chocolate cake.
Yes.
So
I would come back for chocolate cake too.
I had a chat with my Salation friend, and he told me they don't make pie. They don't make pie on their planet. And I was like, you don't have pie? He's like, no, we don't bake our fruit here. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going.
It's like, well, let's bring it there so y'all can enjoy some pie. Like, what?
It does make you wonder, like, how many blessings we have here on Earth. They don't even have dogs on other planets. Our dogs are exclusively found on Earth.
That's really interesting. I do think that the human experience is one of the experiences where you have a variety where you may not experience that in other places. So I try to be very like grateful and thankful for the human experiences, but there's times where I'm like, can we maybe not have this one? Like not this experience today? Thanks.
As Siddhartha would say, you send it back to the kitchen and say, I didn't order this.
Yes. I did not order this. This
Even
was not what I wanted. No.
If the universe delivers you the wrong slice of life, you just say, no, thank you. This is not what I wanted.
Yes. Let's clarify and redefine.
Exactly. But sometimes it's all what was that quote? Sometimes life gives you lemonade and your life gives you lemons, then you make lemonade, something like that. I don't remember. Yes. But yeah, you take something that usually most people are kind of like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? And you make something positive out of it. And then you have something more to show for it than what you were previously expecting. And that is kind of like what life on Earth is all about.
That's exactly what it is. It's about alchemizing all of those pieces, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you can't really enjoy or understand the good without the bad and the ugly. And that's not to say that we want the bad and the ugly. It's just, it makes us more appreciative when we get the good.
Yeah. I think it was Socrates that said that he would actually go and sleep outside like a homeless person, even though he had this big, beautiful house. And they would wonder, they thought he was nuts. Like, why are you going out and sleeping like a homeless person? And he said that going through periods of discomfort made you much stronger mentally. And it gave you better perspectives and made you truly grateful for the things that you had versus all these people getting used to it and then just having expectations that they'll always be blessed. And there was a time where, I forget who it was, I think it was somebody with the Turks, had kidnapped him and held him hostage. And then eventually they said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll let you go if you give up every earthly possession you have. And he was like, okay. He's like, done. Like he didn't even give a shit. Like it was no big deal to him. Like, no.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah. It would be amazing to be able to be that detached from material things. And I think that that's like one of the goals of the human experience. But I also think that if there are things that we truly want and desire that are deep in our soul, that we're allowed to have those things too.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can't take those things with you.
No.
You can have them temporarily and enjoy it while it lasts.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I love that.
Donna says, I'm calling uncle. I'm strong enough. Like, all right, I've had enough.
That's so good.
So what have you been up to anyway, Anna? What's life been like for you?
Mainly just been living life. Been it's summer, so got the kiddo at home, so really trying to create that balance between home life and work, which is an extra challenge when you work from home. I'm sure you understand that really well.
Because work never ends then. You don't leave the office, so to speak. Oh, I know.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that majorly.
And yeah, and it can be a bit of a challenge because like you want to balance your work, your life, and your home, but sometimes some things just happen to fall away a little bit, and that's natural and it's fine. But I'm enjoying it so much. Like we're just having all kinds of experiences this summer. We're getting out there, we're living life, and it's been great. I'm still doing my business and still working, but I'm also like enjoying this time together with my family, and it's just been really beautiful. Continuing my healing journey, which has been really fun and amazing, and nurturing that nervous system. I'm now down 36 pounds in 7 weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that's been really big. And like what I love about it is that like I'm enjoying moving my body. And it's not so much about the workout, it's about understanding that I've got all of this excess energy. And instead of like bringing it into low vibrational things, I'm bringing it into high vibrational things. Like instead of being frustrated with all this energy, I'm moving my body and working through it. And it's been so good. Like I was frustrated as fuck this morning over really nothing. And I worked out and I was like, oh, that feels so much better. There's just something about honoring the body in that way and moving it and working it
I
and
would say
feeling the
movement,
muscles. It's just,
movement. That's where it's
oh,
really at.
it's just
You have to
so
move in order
good.
to release. You know, there's so many
Yes.
songs about shaking it off and getting rid of all the unwanted energies that you have attached to you, because humans are like sponges. We don't realize this. We attract so much from other people, and a lot of what we carry is not even ours.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So I did an energy session last week in my group, Divine Purpose Posse, and it was really incredible because part of it was like cleansing ourselves and shaking things off. Like the amount of energy that you feel just from doing this intentionally, it's incredible. So if you're ever feeling like really wonky in your energy, just do this. It looks weird as heck, but it feels so freaking good.
As a little kid, if somebody scared me, I'd be like, oh, like, like, so it's funny, like how you do things inadvertently without even realizing why you do it.
Yeah, you're shaking off that scared energy that was suddenly in your nervous system. You're like, "Ooh, I don't like that." And you shook it off. So good.
Yep, exactly. And I think that many of us are starting to realize that bottling up emotions is also a good thing to release, because a lot of people are bottling things up, especially looking to you men right now. Men, especially, it's one of the biggest. I mean, pretty much for every man that comes through with clearings, they're like, you need more movement, you need to release your emotions, you need to talk things out, let it out, however you need to let it out, but just release, because it's like a pressure cooker if you don't.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that I've been guilty of that in my past as well. And that's like been part of my nervous system healing is because I bottled things in so much to the point where I wasn't able to actually feel things anymore. Like, yeah, I would get sad. Yeah, I would get happy, but it was never like being able to express those sad emotions or even be able to enjoy those really high highs. And it was through that recognition of, oh, wow, like I'm really not letting myself feel the things I need to feel. I'm bottling up. And then the floodgates opened.
Mm-hmm.
And it
And the
was just
grit
like, oh my God, I feel like
ready
a
for it.
crazy person.
There'll be one trigger, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, it gets ugly, messy. You know, like with the unleash of emotion. So it'll
That's
either come
exactly
out
what it
as
was.
rage, or it'll come out as like despair, or
Yes.
extreme like rah, where you just feel like you can pull your own hair out. Yeah, been there so
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
Torrance, they call it
Yeah.
the
Well,
bullet
and
in China shop when we get to that point. You know? Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm also like triple fire. So my big three are all fire signs. I'm Sun
Oh, that'll
Sagittarius,
do
I
it.
am Moon Leo, and I'm Aries rising. So when I do allow myself to be emotional, it's a fucking lot. Like it is a lot. And when I did finally come out of that functional freeze in my nervous system, it was literally just like tears for days. For
Aw.
days, because I was finally letting myself feel all the feelings because my dad passed away at the end of 2021. And I just got so numb for so long through that. And then when I finally let this come out and release, yes, I cried for that many days, but that's also when the weight started moving off of my body. It wasn't fully intentional at that time, but it was just coming out of that functional freeze, allowing myself to feel the feelings. And then literally all that weight of protection started melting, literally melting away.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think that a lot of us have been burying things since childhood. It was interesting because just during a
Mhm.
clearing last night, we were talking about, I forget what a client's wound was, but it was a wound of not being heard. I forget the exact words that the
Mm,
guys used, but it was basically like when you're a child and you're like, Mom, Mom, and they're like, shut up, I'm busy. And then you keep doing that over and over to the child, and the child will bottle everything up. So they won't go to mom and tell mom when they see something interesting. They won't go to mom when they have a problem, because they'll just be expected to be like, no, go away. And you know what's funny is I had this as a child myself. I saw myself immediately in what that client was going through. My parents said, "Shut up, Laura," so much as a kid that even the parrot used to say it. We have an African gray parrot. Walk past the cage, the bird would be like, "Shut up, Laura."
Oh.
My own parents, I take it from you too, bird. Like, what the hell? So that was like my whole childhood growing up was just being told to shh, sit down, shut up. And then I wonder why I keep my mouth shut under many circumstances as an adult. I'm like, they don't need to hear this. Like, and why I also don't ask help too. Why I'm always so like ridiculously independent to the point where even if I need help, I won't ask for it.
Yeah, that's hyper independence, and that is can be a little bit of a self-sabotaging thing to be into, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you need help. Nobody is here to do it on their own. And even from your own soul guides, they're not allowed to help unless you ask. They'd be violating your free will. So they're not allowed to clear you. They're not allowed to heal you. They're not allowed to give you guidance. They're not allowed to do really anything until you give them permission and ask for help.
Exactly. Exactly. So the thing that I grew up with, and this is probably a program that a lot of people have been implanted with as well, is that children are meant to be seen and not heard.
Yes.
Right? They're just there. They're just objects. They're decoration.
Exactly.
They're part of this status that our parents were trying to achieve, or whatever
My dad
it
was
might have
born in
been.
1921. That was literally what he was told. Children are to be seen and not heard. That was a thing in the 20s. That was a huge thing. You were like a little like a living room ornament. That was it. They didn't want you to say anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like no wonder everything and everybody have gotten so suppressed. But that's what's really beautiful about the time that we're in right now, is that we're moving so far beyond that. And this generation's parents are raising these kids so much differently than we were raised and our parents were raised and our grandparents were raised. And it's like just such a beautiful like breaking of the cycles, ancestral healing. It's just been incredible. And this is what I mean by I'm seeing so many people shift and change dramatically, because they're starting to have these big aha moments of like, just because somebody told me this doesn't mean that it's true. I get to be in my own truth, my own power within that. And it's been incredible just to see how many people's lives are changing as they're allowing themselves to be authentically them and express what they want to express, say what they need to say. But especially for our men and our masculine, they're programmed very differently than us women. Like, yes, we are programmed as like total servitude. We've got to do all of the things. We got to take care of the house. We got to take care of the children. We got to take care of the husband. We got to take care of this, that, the other thing. Plus, now in society, we also need to work to contribute. So there's also that. But then the masculine are like, you have to be strong and sturdy and be the oak tree and never show weakness and this and that. And like,
never
that's
cry, no
bullshit.
cry. Yeah, It
It's
reminds me of that
bullshit.
scene when what was it? That one movie like where with Tom Hanks, he's like, "There's no crying in baseball." And trying to release all this emotion. He's like, "What the hell?" They didn't know what to do with it because they weren't used to seeing it. So this is the kind of thing where they're programmed to not cry, to not release, to not show weakness. And we all have that. We have to release. We have to cry. Otherwise, eventually, like it's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah. Well, and this is why disease is on such a spike. It's because you're not dealing with your shit. It's not about your actual physical body attacking you. It's about your emotions have become so fucking much without anywhere to go that now they've just penetrated your cells and now you're suddenly sick. You've got cancer, autoimmune disease, you've got whatever it might be.
Anger is a big one for cancer. People don't realize that cancer is often, it can be rooted in chemicals and exposure to certain things, but a lot of it is emotional. And your own body can start to fight against you in many ways if you're not dealing with certain emotions. They'll get trapped in the organs. I mean, I've actually asked the guides, hey, can we do a flush and a purge when I'm doing clearings? And a flush and a purge basically means can we flush the system of toxins and vaccine residuals and all that stuff, but then can we purge the emotional body? And you know what's funny? The guides say that purging the emotional body is a bigger deal. Like they're like, all right, we're gonna have to do this very carefully over the next couple days. This is gonna have to be like, and the next thing you know, I'm hearing from the client, and they're like, I can't stop crying. I don't know what's wrong. And we're like, it's okay. You're just releasing. The water taps are open. We're trying to get all the sludge out of the system. And then once that happens and everything is clear flowing, you're going to feel a lot more like yourself again. But for now, we got to get the ugly, emotions out of the system, the anger, the frustration, the disdain, the regret, all of that will bottle up and you'll feel so tight and so numb and you don't know why. And the next thing you know, the floodgates have opened and you're just an emotional mess. And then we realize, okay, that's why there was a clog in the emotions. And now it's all coming out.
Yeah, exactly. And what's so beautiful on the other side of that is you feel so light, you feel so free, you feel like you can actually breathe again, because often when we're holding all that stuff in, we don't realize that we're actually like really closing in our energy field as well. So now think of your energy field as like this bubble, right? And when we're in all of that, it's closing that bubble in and it's literally suffocating us. But when we
Yeah.
can let that out, release, then we can expand that energy field and we can breathe again.
Yep. Some people asking how to release it. Well, you have to trigger it. You have to trigger a release. Sometimes it'll be just hearing a song and you start bawling your eyes out in your car. Sometimes it'll be seeing somebody again and you're like, oh my God, all the emotions start rushing back and you feel all these, things rising to the surface. That is an opportunity for you to release it. Whenever you have a moment where you feel like the bull in the china shop moment. One of my favorite things to do at the Renaissance Fair when I see people walking by is when they break stuff, where they take like bottles that are old and then like they're throwing things and breaking things. You pay like $1 a piece to break bottles. If you look at the people that are throwing stuff, you can tell they need it. They need that release. Like when the bottle breaks and all the glass goes everywhere, they're like, oh, like you can see all the emotion coming out of them, especially the men. And they seem lighter when they walk away.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like people are like, well, anger is bad. No, anger internalized is bad. You have to release it.
Yes.
You release it in a healthy way. You don't want to release it at the person. You want to go and release it some other way. You could do it with a punching bag. You could do it at the gym. You could do it with an angry run. You could do it in a lot of ways. Like
yes.
There are ways to release emotion without having it be destructive.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do it in a healthy way.
Bottles, rather than smashing your own stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But there's definitely ways that you can release your anger that are healthy ways. But I also want to add that there's a lot of times that when we feel anger, there's actually something else that's bubbling underneath of that. Like anger's kind of that red flag to let you know, hey, something's not feeling very good here. And if you are willing to express that anger in a healthy and non-dangerous way, then when you get under that, a lot of times you're going to find that actually it's like grief or sadness or resentment or other things that are actually bubbled underneath of that anger. It's just your emotions have been so closed that now it's reached this point of anger where you're like, I don't know what to do. But as soon as you release that, you're like, oh, actually, I'm really fucking sad. I'm really sad and I don't know why I'm sad. And that's okay. I don't need to know why I'm sad. Let's just be sad and not be angry at the fact that I'm sad, because then that perpetuates the whole angry, sad cycle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting?
But
Whenever we ask about Starseed veterans and they say, well, you can't take it with you. And I keep thinking to myself, what do they mean when they say you can't take it with you when you leave Earth? And then I realized they're talking about the emotions, all that stuff that we haven't released. So if you've bottled it up and you want to take that anger with you, they're not going to let you. They're going to say, sorry, you're going to have to leave that here. It's kind of like going to the airport and the airport's like, sorry, you get bottle is too big. You're going to have to leave this here. And you're like, but it's a $2,000 bottle of blah, blah, blah. And they're like, sorry, it's not going on the airplane. It's not allowed. It's got to be in a smaller bag. It's too bad. Dump it in the trash. You can't come if you don't dump it in the trash. Like it's kind of like that. Like you have to let it go or you're not going anywhere.
yeah. And that might be one of the reasons why we get earthbounds, is because they're so tied to those emotions and they're not willing to let them go. They're like, okay, well, then you get to stay on earth as an earthbound until you're ready to let it go. Like,
yeah. Donna said you keep rubbing your right eye. Honestly, Donna, I don't know what it is. We're talking about release today. You ever cry without meaning to cry? Where your tears
yep.
just start coming? This has been since I woke up this morning, Donna. I had a visit from Yeshua last night. I was working late and I was doing clearings because I've got a lot of clearings. Y'all get me very busy. I've been getting so many clearings coming in. I've got 100 pending bookings right now. So I've been working like double trying to keep up. And last night I was a little bit burned out. And Zach says to me, he goes, you know, you've got a visitor. And I was like, I felt somebody come in. I was like, who is it? Like, and he's like, it's Yeshua. And I was like, oh, thank you, Yeshua. What's he doing? He's like, he's got his hand on your head. And I was like, oh, okay, well, what's going on there? And he's like, he's helping you release. There's some things that you're releasing right now. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's really great. Thank you. And he's like, yeah, and he's sending you some healing for burnout. You've been burning yourself out a little bit. That vacation, you were supposed to rest. You didn't rest. And I was like, I know. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't know how. So he was like, yeah, he's like, they're just going to help you with releasing. And I've been crying since last night. I'm not even for no reason. Like, I'm just sitting here hanging out with you and my right eye will not stop leaking. And I'm like, it's still coming. Like, it's still
So
going
I do
out.
find it interesting that it's specifically the right eye, though, because like through my experience, the right side is like our masculine side. So if you've been in like this push, this hustle, this grind, then that's releasing some of those toxic masculine traits that maybe you're holding on to.
That is such, you have no idea. You spot on, Anna. Spot on. Like, chef's kiss, spot on. I actually
I mean, I
asked,
know.
I have a friend in spirit. Her name is Galis. And I asked Galis to come in and be one of my guides for a while to basically just help me be more feminine in a way. Because 70% of my lifetimes have been male. And I still have all male guides around me. And I still am very like, I'm a single mom. And when you don't have a masculine around, you have to step in and be both, you know? And so
Right.
it's hard to find that balance and trying to feel more like a woman at times. And this is me being like very direct. Like I tell these guys everything. So this is something that's very difficult for a lot of people to admit. And this is something that I've been very grateful. Thank you, Galis. Love you for coming in and offering to, you know, to be that guide for me because I need it. I don't really feel feminine, you know? And it sucks because I
Yeah.
want to. Especially finding out that my next life is going to be male, I'm like, oh, I need to. I'm like, all right, I really got to enjoy being a woman while I can because I haven't had many of these opportunities. And I hate to say it, but every female life that I've had major tragedies in it. Like I was a nun and had my baby taken away and they drowned my child. Like horrible shit happened to me when I was a female. The last incarnation I was involved in the Kennedy administration, I got black bagged and tortured to death. Like being a woman has never been easy for me because I've always either been raped or beaten or abused in some way. So it's almost like I was afraid to be feminine too in that aspect.
Mm.
And Galis understands that better than most. Don't you, darling? Love you. She has a bit of a chip on her shoulder in regards to men, but it's fine. We'll work on that together.
Yeah, it's
So,
true though, and I do feel like being born feminine, like a woman, is definitely probably the biggest growth experiences for your soul though, however. Because
mhm.
let's just face it, and this isn't saying anything negative about our masculines, it's just we are just as women, we're just innately more open to learning the lessons, to seeing the bigger pictures, to exploring the emotions, and therefore our soul gets to evolve so much more as a woman, I feel.
It's hard to
But
feel safe though in many occasions. And I know there's a lot of jokes about women choosing the bear and all this silliness, but as the collective, you can tell women feel it. And they don't really know how to express it in a healthy way to the point where, I mean, yeah, we make jokes about it. Yeah, we get angry about it. but how we deal with it is kind of a challenge, because you don't want to just push all of that away. We have to heal it together. And I'm talking about both genders coming together and healing it regardless. And it makes it more confusing
Absolutely.
because there's so many new star seeds coming in that don't even really have a gender in their other body. They come in a pod. There's so many ETs that are androgynous. And then they come here and have to choose a body, and they have to choose one or the other when they're actually both, which we all are technically. We all are a mix of masculine and feminine energy. So it leads to a lot of confusion in that aspect.
Yeah, and it absolutely would. It absolutely would.
Yeah. I'm glad thank you guys for leaving your comments, and I really appreciate it, because this is such a safe space to be able to discuss all of these things and to be able to share how we feel, because it's not easy navigating these emotions, especially as 5D approaches, because this is uncharted territory, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I understand like that wanting and desiring to be in your femininity, because I was very much in that myself not that long ago. Like I said, I was in a functional freeze, and what really is a functional freeze? It's like when our masculine is really taking over. It's blocking the emotions, it's blocking the things. It's not allowing you to feel what you feel, and I don't mean like our divine masculine energy, more of a toxic masculine energy. But what was really beautiful is I went through this process, and I just decided one day, I'm like, okay, higher self, you are going to take the wheel, show me what to do. And she literally laid out this plan of different types of energy works that I could do on myself to help me build different bridges inside of my energy, which I thought was really interesting, this whole concept of a bridge. And this is how my program that I'm launching soon, Hot Sacral Summer, was developed, because it's helping women remove themselves from that toxic masculine, be more inside of their divine masculine, but also allowing that divine feminine to rise, to really be in the intuition, to really be in the body, to appreciate the sensuality that is the divine feminine as well, because there's so much power in that inside of the sacral. Specifically, the sacral is our power place, ladies. And this is why I created Hot Sacral Summer, so that we can start building bridges. So the first part of it I did for free last week. So if anybody wants to check it out, go over to my YouTube. It's the latest one that was updated. And I'm literally bridging the root chakra to the crown chakra so that your head can realize that you are safe. Because we do all the grounding, we do all of the work, we do all of the things, but for some reason our brain is still like, but we're not safe. We still have all these programs and all this bullshit that tells us we're not safe. But it's like, no, we're not being hunted by bears and tigers right now. Like, we're good. We're not living in caveman days. We're good. Like, this part of our brain, we're good. So creating that bridge has been so powerful for so many women. And then when you come into Hot Sacral Summer, you get the other three energy works of the other bridges that come in, like the sacral to the heart, the solar plexus to the throat, so that you're speaking those wants, needs, and desires out loud. Because so many of us divine feminines can be really scared to speak about what we want, because maybe it's taboo, or maybe we feel like yes, maybe because we feel like we're too much. Maybe we feel like we can't ask for all the things that we want because we're the nurturers. We need to put everybody else first. Fuck that noise. Fuck that noise. Fuck that noise. We need to actually put ourselves first so we can show up in servitude to those who we love even better. My marriage has completely changed since I've walked into this, and it's been giving him the space to be his divine masculine, giving me space to be my divine feminine, and the way that it's been coming together has just been absolutely gorgeous and beautiful.
Yeah. Ariana says, I have an insane fear that I'm going to get kidnapped all the time. I need to fix that. Ariana, I have the exact same fear. For years. Which is interesting because there's no way I could have gone backpacking had I not healed that fear, especially with movies like Taken and like Hostel out there that I watched. I was like, like there's a lot of fear around that. And it's interesting that I had to go in. So I was kidnapped. I was black bagged. I was absolutely. It's a long story. I was involved in the Kennedy administration, and I was one of the whistleblowers in the past life, and it was really ugly. I was walking down the street, and they threw a bag over my head and kidnapped me, and they tortured me to death. And I had flashbacks of this that would pop up during dreams, and I didn't understand what it was until I saw the whole dream in throughout the whole. Yeah, I relived the entire experience from start to finish. We'll put it that way, and all of my phobias were gone. All afterward, all of them, and I thought. And it was interesting because I had a fear of all of that for years. And I thought, reliving it, you'd think that it would get worse, but it got better. My fear of claustrophobia was gone. My fear of abduction was gone. My fear of standing in my power, speaking my truth was gone. And I was wondering, like, what happened. And the guide said you needed to re-experience it to know that you'd be safe. You came back whole again. No matter what they did to you, no matter how much you suffered, you were tortured horribly, but look, you're back and you're fine. So they're just letting you know, like, you're safe. And even though you may have gone through something horrific in the past, you're going to become whole again no matter what. So it removed all fear. Like, all of my phobias were gone. And even now I can still see remnants of it. Like, I can still see certain little triggers that come up to remind me that it's still always going to slightly be there in the background, and I have to keep refacing it over and over again by challenging that fear.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly how you break like your patterns and programs.
That's what did it for me, was just doing it myself, just going out by myself, backpacking by myself to countries I've never been before. That really helped to keep that fear in the very far back. You know what I mean? Right? It's never going to be completely gone, because it's almost like a learned lesson. Like, you need to have a healthy amount of fear to keep yourself in check, or you just start doing stupid shit. At least that's how I look at it, So it's just caution, I guess, is a better word for it.
Yeah, but that's beautiful though. Like, putting yourself in that position. I've been calling that exposure therapy. I don't know if that's an actual thing or not, but like doing the things that scare the fuck out of you, like the things that scare the fuck out of you, but doing them anyway. And that is, there's so much healing and growth from that. And I think for a lot of us women, because I'm seeing a lot of people like in the comments say like, oh yeah, like I have that fear of abduction and things too. I think a lot of that, like,
abandonment is huge. Yep.
Yes. So think about this though. So yes, you may have had a past life where you were literally kidnapped and taken, but how much of that do you think is actually rooted in the witch wound though? Right?
Yeah,
because
that's what
witches were literally taken from their homes and burned at the stake.
Oh, I was drowned and then burned. I didn't drown, so they had to burn me too. I have both.
But I thought if you didn't drown, that meant that you weren't a witch.
Apparently
or was it the other way around?
No, apparently still burn you anyway. I'm
stubborn. Yeah, so much of that comes to the witch wound. And that's another part of the sacral healing for the divine feminines as well, because all of those wounds are going to sit in that place, because that's your place of creation, right? And if you're going to continue to create this reality of unsafety, then it's going to sit in the sacral.
Yep. Yeah. The seat of your emotions, as they call it.
Yes, exactly.
I tell you to listen to your gut. Yes. Not the head. The head gets all kinds of things jumbled up. It's the gut you got to listen to. If your stomach tells you something, listen.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Oh, see, a lot of you guys have gone through some hell in your past lives, though. And see, like, so many people are still kind of healing that. It could have happened 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. It makes no difference. It's still, fresh in the mind of the soul in a way.
Absolutely.
In the back.
So if you ever experience, so like if you ever experience something that you would consider an irrational fear because nothing has happened in this lifetime to make you fearful of that, likely it's come from a past life. So one of the things that I was really irrationally scared of were guns. And I've never been exposed to guns, like, ever. And then one day in my early 20s, I was having this dream where I was literally somebody who, like, I was a white male and I was helping the Underground Railroad. I was smuggling slaves out of their slavery and trying to set them free. And I literally got shot in the neck. And it was the most intense dream I'd ever had because I literally felt it in my neck. And that's what woke me up, was feeling the shot in my neck. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that makes so much sense to why I was so scared of guns for so long, because I've literally been shot by one just trying to help people.
Yeah. Michelle says 1,000 years ago, I was kidnapped by raiders in Ireland and taken to England, where I died. See, like, learning these things too, like, it's almost, this is one of the reasons why hypnosis is something that is such a beautiful form of healing, because it allows you to go into that other version of yourself and to kind of the frustration though that I have is a lot of times these things get re-triggered without the healing aspects, because it's very easy to re-trigger an old wound without and bring it to the surface, but then once it's at the surface, what do you do with it? Because you bring it up and then all of a sudden you have all this pain in your hands and you're like, oh my God, what do I do with all this now? And it's like, well, you have to release it. You have to let it go. You have to forgive and accept things for what it is. It was a lesson. It was an experience. And it's no longer like something that you have to hold on and deeply within yourself, because many of us have struggled. This is a very difficult, painful planet to be on. And if you could look at all the ways that you died, pretty much most of them have been traumatic. So it's like you have to kind of accept it all just as an experience and a learning lesson, and not having resentment or anger or holding on those unrational fears. Because like, for certain things that affecting us even now, like things that aren't even relevant to this time anymore. Like women being afraid to speak out because we're afraid that people are going to arrest us and, you know what I mean, and burn us at the stake. We still have that unconscious fear, even though, it's very unlikely to happen. However, there are still 6 countries in the world that burn witches to this day, or at least that kill witches to this day. 6 countries that still do it.
Well, as long as it's still happening in the collective, it's going to continue happening in our subconscious as well, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yes.
So I do have a suggestion for people who want to like work on their triggers and want to work on some of these things and they're not sure where to go or how to start. I have a book called Beyond the Shadows. And inside here, I actually have created what I call the trigger journal. And basically what it does is it leads you through all of this stuff here, where it's like, what was it that triggered you? What emotions are coming up? What are you feeling in your body? How intense is this reaction? And then we move into exploring the root of the trigger. So like, ask yourself deeper questions. Like, is this trigger based on something real in the present moment? Or is it connected to something from my past? And digging into all of that. And then we move into releasing then the trigger. And I give you different ways in which you can release those triggers, like deep breathing, journaling, meditation, movement, burn or release ritual, which I also have included in the book. And then I have additional space for you just to journal out all of the things that you're feeling, so that if you don't feel safe talking to somebody, you don't feel safe being with somebody with all of your emotions, you can be with yourself inside of this book that's going to guide you through the process of acknowledging, releasing, and moving through it.
Wow, Anna, that's perfect.
Yes.
Ideal. Look at that. Because this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. To release something, to forgive someone, they don't need to be involved. You don't need to go to that person and be like, just so you know, I forgive you for that thing. And they'd be like, I don't care. It's not for them that you're forgiving them. It's not for them that you're releasing these things and saying these things, which is one of the reasons why writing a letter and then burning it is one of the most powerful things you can do at the end of a relationship. Saying all the unsaid things. You don't have to deliver the letter. You can just release it. You light it on fire, release it to the universe, let it go. And you feel lighter when you do that.
Yeah. And that's exactly the process that I did when I released my ex relationship, which was a domestic violence relationship. It took me a long time to get there. It took me a long time of healing. But once I was finally there, I wrote out that letter and I said, I forgive you. And as hard as that was for me to say that, I needed to forgive him, because I was only poisoning myself by holding on to it, because I know for damn sure he don't give a fuck about the shit he did to me back then. I know he doesn't. I was only punishing and poisoning myself by holding on to it. So I wrote it all down, got it all out. I also use tapping too. That one is really good for me. I love that one for emotional release. Tapping with it too, writing it out, burning that motherfucker and being like, bye. I am closing all connections, ties, cords with you, because I'm not willing to poison myself any longer.
But what if you are the person you're supposed to be forgiving? What if you are the one that did all these wrong things in a past life too? Because there's also a theme this week. I've had several clients that were persecutors. We're not just dealing with the victimization of people and the whole like fear of persecution. We have the perpetrators and the people that were doing the persecution that are now coming to the forefront to be healed.
Yeah, absolutely. So self-forgiveness can be very difficult, but like as long as you acknowledge it, and then what I like to use actually is the Hawaiian forgiveness ritual of the Ho'oponopono. Do
Ho'oponopono
you
is
know what that
beautiful.
is?
Yes.
Yes. So
Sorry,
like
I
you can
love
listen
you.
to that music. Yeah, there's music that goes with that that you can listen to, and you can move your body and forgive yourself as you're just kind of like swaying with the mantra and really let yourself release that, because that was part of your design at that time, but that doesn't mean that it's true or real for you now. So you can forgive and let that go and move forward. Because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to persecute yourself in this life by
Yes.
continuing to hang on to that.
Yeah. It happens a lot that we're still constantly beating ourselves up for things. We don't even know why we do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And to answer everybody's question, yes, that was the Beyond the Shadows workbook. Yes, Anna? Do you mind lifting that up one more time just
Yes.
to show them? There's a couple
Yep.
people that are going to buy it. Thank
So
you
it's
very
Beyond
much.
the Shadows, a guide for emotional mastery.
Love that. It's a beautiful cover too, by the way. This
Thank
is the
you.
kind of shadow work that we need to do right now. This is what the collective is working diligently to heal in many different aspects. And I love that Amanda Gibbs says it's all reflections of self. This is something that we all, in the micro perspective, yeah, we're all individuals. But if you really zoom out and look at everything everything is source. I'm God,
Yeah.
you're God, we're all God. So source wanted to be you, to have an experience as you.
Yeah. Yeah. We're literally just all different expressions of source. Source
So
wanted
anytime we
experience
hold
that body, that
animosity,
experience, that thing. So great. That's that piece. Now over here, one experience this thing. It's all one and the same.
so any
Yeah. And
animosity
it's
and
just such a
disdain for somebody else is technically animosity and disdain that you hold against yourself. And that is something that a lot of people do not want to hear. I've been chewed out a couple of times by saying that.
I think they have a hard time conceptualizing that. Like I think that that is such a high level thing that some people just aren't ready to hear. But
Mhm.
as you continue to do your work and acknowledge the things and go through your shadow work, then you will eventually reach that place where you have that understanding, that knowledge. Um, yeah, and it's just such a beautiful and great space to be in the experience of being a
Well, this
human.
is why there's no like violence and all of this toxic shit in the higher levels of consciousness, because all of that illusion of individuality like starts to go away. And you start to
Yeah.
recognize that everyone else is you in another form. And why would you want to act against yourself? That's, like, but then again, sometimes we are our harshest critics, aren't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are the hardest on ourselves than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a big part of that is having graciousness for ourselves, and but also releasing the victimhood, because there's a lot of people that find identity in their victimhood, and I've seen that a lot in clearings too. It's
Oh,
kind of like this
absolutely. It's
woe is
like
me,
there's
I'm in the ditch, but you don't climb out of the ditch. You just blame the person who knocked you in the ditch. And you say, "Oh, now I'm in the ditch." Then they're like, "Are you going to come out?" And they're like, "No."
well, for some people, it feeds them some kind of energy that they feel like they need, right? But
Yeah.
if you allow yourself to acknowledge, like, yeah, you know what, I am in a victim mentality, and start to move through that, then things start to shift and change, and all of a sudden, all these problems and big dramatic things that you've been having happening, they stop happening. Weird.
That's why standing in your power is everything. Just
Yes.
standing in your power and be like, "Yeah, you did all these bad things in your past. Okay, I accept it. I forgive myself. I know that I was doing these things unconsciously. I'm a better person now. I have learned from that experience, and I no longer have to carry that guilt within myself." Period. Done.
Yes.
Anybody comes in and says, hey, you still owe me for that thing. I'm sorry. I release. I forgive. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be more rising to the surface. And you just graciously take, okay, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. I forgive myself. I forgive you. I forgive the whole situation moving forward. And so the guides, I asked several times, like, what is the best way to do that? And the guides make it very simple. They say, stay in the present. Stay in the present. Don't go dwelling on the past. The past is over. It's done. It's dusted. Move on. The guides are constantly, it's one of the biggest things of advice that they always give people is to say, let it go. Live in the present. If you're thinking about the past, then you're probably giving yourself, like depression and sadness and anxiety and all these unconscious emotions that you don't even know why you have them in the first place. And if you're worrying about the future constantly, then you're self-sabotaging, because if your thoughts are not thinking positive about the future, then you're just going to manifest something you don't want with the law of attraction anyway. So you're literally just going to put yourself into that timeline where you get the things that you didn't want in the first place. I always use the pasta analogy. I'm like, if you're going on, well, I don't want pasta. I don't want pasta. What do you think the universe is going to give you for dinner? They're going to give you pasta because you were talking about it. You were thinking about it. You were obsessing over it. And that is exactly what the universe is going to hand you, because that is the frequency and the frame of your perception.
Yeah. Yep. So, precisely. 100%.
Well, we just have to focus on the future we do want. And we can't do that by dwelling on the past. So stay in the present moment, see the future you wish to manifest in your own mind, and act accordingly.
Yes, exactly. Because like you said, and you nailed it, was like, if this is what I've experienced anyway, is when I am too focused on the past or regrets from my past, I get into depression. When I'm too focused or concerned about what's going to be in my future or how it's going to unfold or all the things around the how, then I'm in anxiety.
Yep.
I feel most balanced when I am present, because I'm not depressed about my past. I'm not anxious about my future, and I get to just be. And that's one of the biggest lessons of the human experience, is learning to just fucking be and let shit go. Because we're so good at holding on to it.
That is a big one, Cherise. Cherise says, also stop watching those fear-based TikTok videos. Fear sells. Fear is a big seller. Always has been. I've been writing articles for 14 years now, 15 years at least. And I remember, honestly, that clickbait, you get the most clicks when you make a fear-based headline. If you have a fear-based keywords in there, people start clicking. They're like, oh my God, there's something to be afraid of. And it works. Like, people sell fear constantly. And if you're selling fear, it makes it, device is not connected. We lost her. If you're selling fear, then technically it does make it a lot more easy to manipulate people in certain ways. And that is why the news is constantly promoting fear. Anna's still here. I can see her here on my thing. It just says her camera is disabled. Here we go. We got voice note. There we go. We'll just blame Mercury, right? Even though I know you're
well, it's because I moved. I have to get ready to head out here soon, so I just got to get a couple things together while we're wrapping up here.
No, you're fine. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of exciting opportunities to heal the past coming forward. And I feel that if you embrace those opportunities and make the most of them, then you'll notice that these were opportunities for growth and for healing and transmutation.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, if you have to call it a day, Anna, I completely understand. I could go and start chasing some beasties today. It's really great to see you.
Out to like an inflatable water park on the lake. So we're really excited to have fun with that.
Oh, you're going to a water park. Awesome. That sounds like fun.
Inflatable water park. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to toss my child off of one of them.
Hi, sweetie pie. Nice to see you. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Anna. I'm going to share a link. Thank you also, Cherise, for sharing her links and stuff. For those of you who are interested in getting the workbook and some of her other amazing workbooks, you got to check Anna out on Amazon. She's got all kinds of goodies on Amazon. And many of them are for people who are doing the work right now. If you really consider yourself to be someone who's doing the work, who is actively trying to move forward and to not be dwelling on the past or not be fearful of the future. And also to really just stand in your power and know that you are the strong, capable person that you've been, working towards your whole life. I really feel that this is the opportune moment. Like, we're all being pulled into this opportunity for growth. We'll put it that way. So embracing it is everything right now.
Yes. And I have so many things that can help support you on your journey if you want to go it alone. But I also have a lot of things that can help support you if you want to have a guide or somebody just next to you to basically hold your hand and to make you feel seen and supported, because that's also a big part of the healing journey too.
Perfect. Thank you, Anna. Sending you so much
Thanks
love.
for
I
having
hope
me.
you have a wonderful day at the water park. All right. Love you guys. See you all tomorrow with Siddhartha. Woohoo. See you soon. Bye, everyone.